Hello and welcome to the unofficial Nitro RX Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Thiemo Albers-Daly, and I am joined as always by my brilliant co-host, Nabila Tejpar. How are you?
I am doing well. How about yourself?
Not too bad. Very warm, but we'll get through it. And we're back once again because we've got a very special episode where we are talking to yet another driver. We're just collecting them like infinity stones at the moment. And this week we've got Fraser McConnell. It's going to be very exciting to chat to him.
Absolutely. I'm excited that we're getting so many different drivers on in all the different categories because not only is he Group E, but he's Supercar too.
And then we also coming out of his veins, just loves the stuff.
Absolutely. And then we've got a little update with regards to the season calendar this year. Unfortunately, Rallycross Finland has been cancelled this year due to the track not being far enough along. So that's going to take out one of the 10 rounds and reduce it to 9. And there's no news yet whether there's going to be an addition to the calendar or not yet.
Yeah, it's going to be. I would kind of hope if they wanted to have a replacement, maybe they either do a double round in Canada somewhere if they want to have another cold thing, or maybe Sweden, they stay there for longer. But again, we're just speculating at this point. So.
Absolutely. But that would have been the third round in Europe. So we're going to see a little bit of changes in the European championships, but let's see what happens. And then that means that it will be Sweden and then a very, very long gap until it goes back to the US in Minnesota in October. So
yeah, I mean, it's something like an extreme E calendar. This will have lots of racing and then we won't do anything for like 4 months.
Yeah, exactly.
But enough of all that because we don't really have any other news. So let's just get straight into this conversation with Fraser. So, hi Fraser. Thanks for being here today. Welcome to the podcast. First of all, how are you?
Thank you for having me. And I'm great in Jamaica, getting at regular work now, getting ready for the second round of Nitro.
It's going to be exciting to get stuck in for that.
Yeah, time off from work is spent in the gym and on the simulator and getting prepared. So it's not too far around the corner.
What's the real life job for you?
I work with my family. We have a juice business, so I work in the distribution, logistics side of the team.
Awesome, that's really cool. Pays the bills at the same time, right?
Yeah, exactly. Somebody needs to. And these guys do as well. So
first question we want to ask you then, when did you first get into off-roading?
Well, I started with motocross when I was a kid, 8 years old, just riding the bike, and then found out there was a motocross track where they held events. So signed up and went to go do some racing, and ended up stepping up to the A class quite quickly. When I was about 11, I was riding the A class with a CR 85, and doing decent and starting to jump big. And when you jump big, of course, you crash much bigger, and injuries started to happen. And then mom and dad said, no more, it's way too much for their heart. And then they said we're going to continue, had to be 4 wheels. So that's where we transitioned to go-karting. And then I always had the love for off-road and gravel and not having grip and sliding. So I'd always be wanting to slide the go-kart, and found out that's not the fastest way to drive it. So eventually transitioned back to rally when I was 15. I did my first stage rally and been a part of off-road ever since.
It's kind of insane for you to say that you tried to roll that and then went back at age 15. I'm just thinking in my head, you do that maybe when you're in your 20s or something, but you just you found out pretty quickly straight away. No, yeah, exactly. This is what I want to do.
Exactly. And at a very young age, we did make the commitment to have that sacrifice of it. There's a difference with what you have to sacrifice if it's a hobby and if it's going to be a career. So at a young age, I knew that I wanted to make this my career. And with that became a lot of early sacrifices. Jamaica is a very much a party culture. And, I was, when all my friends were going to their first parties and, hanging out, I was getting ready for races. and I was prepared to make that sacrifice, and I'm happy for it now. So it is a lot of behind the scene work that people don't really see, because a race is only 10 minutes long, and that's what everybody sees, but nobody sees the behind the scenes grind.
So was there any reason that like you didn't stick with rallying and decide to go like the WRC route, and then what drew you therefore into Nitro?
I'd always been a fan of rallycross, and I raced circuit in Jamaica. Go-kart background. I did some circuit racing with a Honda Civic, and I also did rally. So I knew that I could combine both of those skills to have a decent background to go into rallycross. And I love the thrill of it, the intensity, the 600 horsepower. You're going flat out as hard as you can for 6 laps. And I see rallycross as a future. And as fun as rally is, I see a much bigger future and brighter future in rallycross. So that's the route I chose.
Just felt more like the thing for you.
Yeah, and it's a whole circus as well. It's a whole huge show element, which I thrive on, and it's hard to get that environment in rally. And like I said, I thrive on the high intensity, kind of high stress environment as well.
Nice. I can see that. I think there's also a little bit more longevity per se in something such as rallycross, because it's such a closed audience, whereas rally, it's everywhere. So that's also.
And that's a cool thing with Nitro now. They really changed the game in opening eyes of people that have no idea what rallycross or rally is. They're making it much more entertaining. They're making it easy for the average person, let's say, to understand. And making the tracks, the tracks are fun for the hardcore fans, and it's very easy to make a normal person become a motorsport fan if they see the big jumps and the bank turns and all that Nitro stuff. So
absolutely.
And you're clearly loving it, because if we're not mistaken, you're one of the only drivers to be jumping between 2 categories this year. So
yeah.
How do you find it jumping from Supercar category to the insanely quick Group E category?
It definitely is a challenge. When we're operating at the top level, like in the last 2-3%, that's where you find the differences in, a couple tenths, which will effectively make you be on the podium or not in the final. And for the most part, they're similar, but like I said, that last couple percent of finding the details is a big difference in the car, and that's a challenge for me to have those switches. So I have my Supercar switch and I have my Group E switch, and it does take a lot of mental prep before you get in the car to know that this is now your electric, and you're going to do in the electric procedures, and then we're going to Supercar and we're doing the Supercar procedures. So I was even in the Supercar getting ready for the final in Lydon, and we ran a little short on TV time, so they had to put the Group E before. So they said, yeah, get out, jump out to the Supercar, go into the electric. We're doing the electric final first. I was like, oh man, there's that preparation out the window. Let me just jump in this and go for it. So, and it worked out quite well. So it is becoming easier, but by no means an easy task to do both.
Is it straightforward, at least, to differentiate the procedures that you have to do for each one? There wasn't, like you say, you had to switch last minute. You weren't like getting confused as to which thing you had to do for the
and not so much like a start procedure. Sure, those are very unique to each car, but it's more so just how to drive the car. It's a much bigger, heavier, wider car with the power. The way you have to apply the power is different. You can jump a little bit longer with the electric car. So all these little things that you have to pay attention to when you're trying to find those last tenths are, something to have to be able to pay attention to.
I mean, you seem to be doing a pretty good job because after the first round, you were first in the Supercar and fourth in Group E. So, what is your hopes with that for the season? Because I mean, you're showing pretty good pace and everything in both, as it's clearly shown.
Yeah, unfortunately, they've cancelled the Finland round. So I'm not sure how it's going to work with the European Supercar Championship. But every single race or every time I get in the car, I want to be the fastest and the best. You know, even if it's free practice or warm up or Q1, whatever, I want to go out there and be the best person out there. And that's going to stand for the entire season. So one Supercar win under the belt. The races leading up to the final in Group E in Lydden were very frustrating because, you know, it's a new car with all these new bugs, let's say, that need ironing out. And everybody's not facing the same issues because, you know, some have had more testing than others, and it's a brand new car. But I was really happy that everything came together in the final. And yeah, if it wasn't, I don't like to say if, but if there was no contact for me in the first corner, then would have been a different story for sure.
Absolutely. You mentioned just there, I heard you said that it was a European round. So is it separate? Like, will you do the Supercar in the American rounds too, or is it just in the European rounds?
No, I'm not going to be doing any Supercar as of now. I'm not doing any Supercar in the States.
Okay.
And yeah, just focusing on Supercar in Europe. And yeah, like you would have seen, we're going to be doing the Norway round of Euro RX. So I really wanted to be in Hollies. It's my favorite, you know, traditional rallycross track. And the field looked incredible. So looking forward to go up against some of those fast guys.
Nice. Is it close enough that like it's good practice for your next Nitro round too, or are they like a little bit apart?
Well, any seat time is good seat time.
Yeah.
It's never not progressive or it's never, if you're driving the car, it's never not going to help you.
Absolutely. And then I want to go back to your roots a little bit, because it's not every day we see like countries like Jamaica being represented in worldwide motorsports. So I wondered if you could give us a little bit on what type of championships and stuff do you have in Jamaica? Like, do you have regional rounds? Is it really popular, or is it still a smaller sport?
We have so Jamaican local races. We have a rally group. So DRC is the Drivers Rally Club, and then we have the JMMC. JMMC is a sanctioning body, and then JRDC is the Jamaica the circuit club. So we have 2 circuit tracks. We have quite a bit of drag racing as well. A lot of dexterity, so it's precision driving, you know, around cones and that kind of stuff with normal cars. So it is a very strong motorsport culture in Jamaica. And then in Caribbean wise, there's the CMRC, which is the Caribbean Motor Racing Club. I think I got that right. And before COVID, they would have the CMRC championship is Jamaica, Barbados, Trinidad, and Guyana, and all of those countries have a track, and they do 4 rounds. And it hasn't really picked up so much since COVID, but in the, you know, the good old Jamaican and Caribbean motorsport days, you'd have 15 car race with some big juice cars, and it was really fun times. So some RX-7s and some, you know, Evos and Subarus, and that before the radicals came and took over, there was always big juice turbo cars coming to, you know, make a lot of noise.
That's awesome. Have you done Rally Barbados before? I hear it's an epic event.
They really do put on a good event. I went to watch in 2016, and I think it was like a 200 car entry, and you know, all the cars are quality. It's a wicked show.
Yeah, it's definitely on my bucket list too, so I don't blame you.
That would be great stuff to watch. I think have that on the TV. At least I'm surprised no one's kind of come looking at that one before. That'd be great.
Yeah, it's wicked. It's really wicked, and they shut down the entire island to have the rally basically because it's a small island, and they still have a decent amount of stage kilometers And those guys are driving the locals are driving the roads every single day. So you have to be prepared for a proper fight if you go down there.
Talking of kind of biggest fight, what's been your biggest challenge with regards to Nitro RX then so far?
Biggest challenge this year?
Yeah, sure.
I wouldn't say we have had any major challenges yet. Everybody is in the same boat. It's a brand new car. Still a lot of learning to do from all different sides. The series as well, the race format is working. It's proven itself to be a good entertainment builder. But I wouldn't say any real super challenges other than flights being expensive. That's all.
That's fair enough. And I mean, you've got the results to back it up, I suppose, that makes it look like it's not been easy, but it's not been too challenging at the same time. Maybe I can say that. Maybe you probably disagree.
Yeah, it is challenging. We have a massive fundraising support, and guys like A-Shot coming on board. We're a game changer. And then of course all the other Jamaican sponsors. We still have the Jamaica Tourist Board. This is the second year I've been an official ambassador for Jamaica, which is really an honor for me. We have Sandals Resorts, the ranked world best for, I think it's 27 years running, inclusive resorts. We have Praise Wine Company. They're out of Canada. I'm not sure. Do you guys know much about Praise?
No, I don't.
Can't say I have.
It's pretty interesting because every bottle of wine that they sell, or every case of wine that they sell, they supply someone in need of fresh drinking water for a year.
That's amazing.
So they have all these different foundations that they work with. And their slogan is turning wine into water, the other way around, which is awesome for them to be a part of it. And we have Puma Motorsports as well. This is the second year they've been on with me. So that's also pretty surreal for me as well. Proven Wealth is a Jamaican wealth management firm. Then they're being very successful down here as well. Rainforest is a food company. They started off with just Rainforest seafood, but now they've expanded into all categories of food, frozen burgers, frozen fruit, smoothies, and taking over the whole food industry. And we also have Just Bet is the Jamaica's number one betting company, number one sports gambling website. And then we have Uncle Sal, who is my uncle, and he's along for the ride. And then Dirtfish as well. Interesting story with Dirtfish is they're the reason I'm in Rallycross, basically. They gave me the chance to have my first race, and with ARX2, went up there to do emailed a bunch of teams, and Dirtfish responded and said, yeah, you can come up and have a test and drive the car and have some fun. And, in my mind, it was I'm coming to audition for your team, not just drive the car. And after the first day, they're like, yeah, we want you on our team. So we can start proceeding a little more professional with this test. And it was kind of just...
He's got a bit of everything for the sponsorship here, doesn't he? He's got the food, he's got the wine, he's got the bedding, he's got the car.
Yeah. Has it been like, because obviously when people get started, the first thing you've got to think about is motorsport's super expensive. So sponsorship's basically the key to being able to do it. And I know it was always really tough. Like, have you found it to be particularly tough, or are you able to, due to the fact that you're doing so many things on such a world scale, that it's easier to kind of bring those people on board, or are you still facing that kind of struggle?
Well, finances are difficult for everybody at the moment. And it's like I said, it's been an impact on everybody, not just COVID, and especially the war now. So money is a sticky situation for everyone at the moment. But like I said, for all the names I've just called a while ago, they're making all of this possible. So I also I forgot to mention True Shake. So they're a nutrition shake out of Jamaica. So they've been on board for a while as well.
Yeah, definitely nice to see that you're bringing all of those kind of Jamaican brands with you. I think that's really cool. Is there any particular race that you are looking forward to this year? Like, what's going to be the one that you're most excited to see?
Well, I've never driven on ice, so the Canadian rounds are going to be interesting. I've never been to the Middle East or that side of the world, so Saudi will be interesting as well. Where else is there? Vegas is talking about Vegas for the world final, and that would be pretty awesome as well. And Minnesota was one of my favorite tracks on the calendar last year, so really looking forward to driving the electric car there as well. So I wouldn't say I have a single favorite. Just every time I'm in the car is a highlight. So looking forward to those.
So you're saying that you were looking forward to being in Canada because it'd be first on the ice. So a bit of a kick, really, that you can't. That Finland's been dropped from this year's calendar. How are you feeling about that? And you've got to wait that bit extra longer now to get that experience.
I actually think I like what Nitro's done with the calendar being over the race calendar being over 2 calendar years. So it's gonna be the only motorsport being shown through the Christmas time, and all the off season of other races. We're gonna be the only show on TV. So I like the strategy that they've come up with. Sorry. I really like the strategy that they've come up with. And yeah, it's gonna have to be still being in the zone during Christmas time, but I'm willing to make those sacrifices as well.
That's awesome. So I have a couple of more in there. Well, can you describe Nitro in 3 words?
It's gonna sound corny, but thrilling, because it's tracks that thrill and cars that fly. I'd say thrilling is one, intense and entertaining. I guess thrilling and the same thing, but it does look it's entertaining because of how sketchy it looks. And don't get me wrong, it felt sketchy the first time going over those big gap jumps, but now for me, I can close my eyes and go over a gap jump. It doesn't even matter. So, they've really nailed the entertainment part of it while still keeping it super safe at the same time.
That's really cool. And then my other one is, if you could pick any rally car in history and any stage rally in the world, what are they going to be?
I would pick the 2021. Yeah, last year was the first. Last year was the last of that year of WRC. So I would say last year's Toyota on Olympia in Finland.
Okay, the Toyota seems to be a big pick because that's what Connor picked as well. Yeah, good choices. I mean, those were epic generation of WRC. So it is interesting to see the hybrid era, but
if we have this a third time, we're going to have to tell them they can't choose that and choose something.
I was chatting to Chris Meek at Lydon, and he was telling me, obviously he has a record for that stage.
Yeah.
And he was saying it's such a weird concept to wrap his mind around, because if you're 3 centimeters offline when you take off, you're landing 3 meters off when by the time you get to the ground, and 3 meters is off the road into the forest. So he said the level of precision for that stage is insane, and they're flying sideways. They're angling the car before the corner and the jump to make sure that they land back on the road. So I think I'd need a lot of testing before I was to go out, but that would be my choice.
Yeah, Finland has always looked like the toughest one. I don't think I've ever experienced anything like it.
Yeah, like a roller coaster. You've raced at Finland?
I've not done Finland, but the closest I've done is Poland, and they say that Poland is like the jumps, but just a little bit not as wide. So yeah, I've heard
Estonia is it this weekend? No, next weekend.
It just happened. Robin Perra won.
Yeah, he's an animal.
I know.
Absolutely.
An exciting championship this year. I mean, it's exciting because I'm really it's cool to see Robin Perra doing what he's doing. But then I'm also like, come on, guys, there's so many more of you. Take it to the kid,
Yeah. Now he's been just like he's changed gears and shifted up this year for sure.
Absolutely.
Final question that is completely far away from motorsport, because that's just how I roll with the interviews. If you could be a pro in any other sport, then you can't have another brand of motorsport. It's got to be completely non-car or bike related. What would you choose?
Football for sure.
Straight away answer.
Yeah, no question.
You any good?
Not American football, like football.
No, proper football. Yeah.
That's for sure. I have my Man City jersey hung up behind me there.
That's what that is.
Did you ever play before?
Sorry?
Did you play football like before you started competing in motorsport?
As in at a high level? Like I played,
no, just like generally. Like, did you play like for school or anything?
I played twice a week still with
cool.
And I played for school, and I didn't take it as far as university level, but I had too much commitment with racing already. Didn't need any injuries, so my football career stopped at high school, but still play every week and still a big fan. And Puma actually got me this team signed jersey, so I told him I was a fan. Not expecting anything, I just wanted a regular jersey, and then they sent the jersey signed by the whole team, so that was awesome.
I like that extra bit of service there. It's good.
Yeah. Yeah, that is good stuff.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you today. We want to thank you for your time and give you the best of luck for the rest of the season.
I appreciate it, guys. It was a pleasure being here.
That was a great conversation with Fraser. What did you think?
That was awesome. It was really interesting to kind of hear how he went from like 2-wheel to 4-wheel. That seems to be the trend right now, which is interesting.
You don't usually see it too much the other way around normally. So I kind of find it amusing in some ways that the reasoning is that you've got to justify to parents that it's safer, but it's still safer.
Yeah, and I also it's cool to see that he did have that kind of rallying background before he switched across to rallycross. And also how different it is between the two cars. I think that's really cool. Like we're seeing so many things.
I wouldn't be wanting to try and figure that out.
No, me either. I mean, that's like a massive speed difference as well. So awesome to see him doing such a good job in both, and definitely wish him the best of luck for the rest of the season.
And I want to go to the Caribbean and watch some rallies now. I need someone to I don't think we need to get someone to hire us to go and do that. We need to find a way to nestle our way in there, I think. I
mean, if you want to be a co-driver, I'll drive. You can co-drive. We can go do the rally ourselves.
How hard can it be? Let's figure this out. And with that terrifying prospect in mind, that is probably all we've got time for today on this episode. Thanks very much again to Fraser for joining us. And like we said, best of luck for him for the next round of Nitro and for the rest of the season. If you're listening and watching this and you don't already follow Fraser on social media, then, go and do that. Why wouldn't you? And if you like us as well and you're not totally sick of us yet, then I've got a motorsport series on YouTube called On the Curbs. Go and check that out. I'm also part of an F1 podcast, the Undercut podcast. And I've got articles and all sorts of other stuff. You can just find me on Instagram. It's all there with a very handy link tree. Nabila, where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, and of course, as always, our unofficial Nitro Rallycross podcast page on Instagram.
And all of the details for that will be in the description below, so you don't have to remember everything we've just said and keep going back and replaying the video. So with that, we'll be back very soon with another episode, I imagine. So keep your eyes peeled for that. And in the meantime, go and follow us and all the rest of it, and we'll see you again soon.